Okay, here we are with Paul Draper at the world-famous U.S. Toy Magic Shop here in Leawood, Kansas, United States of America, planet Earth. We got some cool toys behind us. We got arm choppers, wrist choppers, head choppers.
Any kind of violence that you want to commit against your audience, it's here, right behind us. Bloody, gory Renaissance magic in bright neon colors.
Exactly. We even have a nice little, beautiful flowers
a
here.
Dagger chest, a flame through head. It just matters. How much violence do you want to cause upon your audience, and how much do you hate others? We have it. You can showcase your violent and vicious ways.
Exactly. So we just have got my handy-dandy little notes here on my iPhone. Just going to ask you a few simple, basic questions. First of all, how did you get started in this business?
I was an 8-year-old loser without any friends, and I thought if I had magic powers that people would like me. And so I went to the library, and I found books on occult, and that didn't help people liking me. And then I found books on magic tricks, and something compelled me to want to figure out how they were done and perform them for others. And so I did. And people said, wow, that's so magical. And I thought, wow, they like me. And so I kept learning magic tricks. Eventually, you get over this sort of, I just want people to like me. And instead, you start to fulfill others' needs. And you start to make it so that they like themselves. And that's when you're ready to be a professional magician.
Sweet. Very good. Do you have any magical influences when you first got started growing up?
Any magical influences? Oh, the journeys we can tell. Yes, there was a magician in Salt Lake named Paul Brewer who does about 500 shows a year, and he's fantastic. And he really makes children feel like their life is better because they've seen his magic. There's Christopher Fair in Salt Lake, who was the original magician at Disneyland. He was the original court jester, and Steve Martin writes about him in his book, Born Standing Up. I was influenced by Harry Blackstone Sr., but, place one hand here, one here, one here. No, the clean one, Tommy. He was on Square One TV and Reading Rainbow and all these TV shows, and I loved that. And so, yes, all of these men influenced me as a child. Yeah, but I was also passionate about musical theater, about debate, public speaking, history, and all of these have tied into my magic.
Very nice. I was actually going to ask you about your non-magical influences, but I think you answered that.
Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was a big non-magical influence. Stephen Sondheim is a big non-magical influence. Those would probably be my biggest that come to my mind right now.
Very good, very good. Earlier tonight during your lecture, you talked about you were pretty close with Louis Simonoff.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about him, if you don't mind.
So when we talk about my modern mentors, we have Eugene Berger. Jeff McBride has done a lot for me as a friend. Michael Fraughton in Salt Lake, also Louis Simonoff. Louis Simonoff was a genius magician and also a professor of mathematics at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He had a couple of students, me, Alan Ackerman, Paul Harris, Lee Asher. What Louis' genius was, and he's in a lot of the Harry Lorraine books, a lot of the Paul Harris books, the Alan Ackerman books, Louis' genius was if you came to him with a dream, a concept of magic that you want to perform, he would come up with a method to make it possible. He created Earth Shoes, the rock from shoes that Matt King does, and Flippant, the move with cards, and Ham and Asp that I do. And I mean, he was just so good at that. And he was a character. He wore a pith helmet, walked with a cane. When you said, "How are you, Louis?" he'd say, "Terrible, terrible." Well, why are you terrible? Well, someone has to be, and I don't want you to be jealous. When you came to his house, rung the doorbell, he'd open the door, and like Bela Lugosi would say, "Enter freely and of your own will." He had these catchphrases that people remembered him by, and he always did beautiful magic for people everywhere he went.
Excellent, excellent. Also tonight, you talked about mental revelations, like a lot of the magical, like the basic effects in magic. There's an appearance, a disappearance, levitation, suspension, transpositions.
Just ask Fiske and David Devant.
Right. So as far as mental revelations, there's like telekinesis, things like that. Do you think there's like, do you have a favorite, or what? Is there one that's more important than the other one, or are they all equal?
So there are very few things that mentalists do, where magicians make things levitate, cut things in half, put them back together, make things transpose from one place to another, make things appear, make things disappear. Mentalists, we hear spirits, we move things and bend things, and we reveal thoughts, or reveal things for the future. But we spend most of our show revealing things. You know, think of a thought. Look, I wrote it down beforehand. You're going to think of a thought. Let me write it down. Ooh, I knew that you were going to think that. I knew you were going to choose that. So we spend most of our time, oh, I know this about you. We spend most of our time revealing things. And I think that it's all about how we choose to reveal it. Do we reveal it written on our arm? Do we reveal it on a banner? Do we reveal it tattooed into our skull? Do we reveal it in a box that's been hanging on the ceiling the whole time, or an envelope that's been pre-mailed to you, or 20 people that turn around letters? Or how do we make our revelations interesting and visual and compelling? And how do we make them so that they fit our character? Because we need to know who our character is, how the physics works behind the magical things, so that the audience can see those magical gears turning in the background.
That's excellent. Very good answer.
You know, people are going to be able to date when we made this based on my beard style and your iPhone.
Exactly. That is true. Do you have any new projects that you're working on in the near future that you can talk about?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm working on a film with the writer Christopher Priest, who wrote The Prestige. He's written a new film about magicians. I'm working on a book for Murphy's Magic right now. I'm working with a developer of theme parks on some magical applications for theme parks. So I always have a lot of projects working in the works, and working in the works. What does that mean? And I'm still doing my Helping Hospitals Heal, an anthropology office. But if you want to find out more about what I'm doing, go to paulwdraper.com, paulwdraper.com, and sign up for my newsletter.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much.